2 months of intense competition have led up to this point. Ladies, gentlemen, NBs, and everyone watching, this is the playoffs here at Empress Season 1. My name is Alligator, and I've got my friend Grimace here to bring you all the action starting today. How are you doing on this fine Saturday, Sunday, morning, night? I mean, we're all over the world.
Yeah, I'm
All
excited to
right,
see like what these two teams have in store for us here. It's gonna be a rematch between Glorp Academy as well as Albert V3. I mean, these two teams just played, I think, like 2 weeks ago, and Glorp Academy did take that series in a 2-0 fashion. So Albert V3 here, they are here out for revenge and blood.
That is most certainly correct. Albert V3, however, finishing with a slightly better record on that group stage, 5-2. They went Glorp Academy 4-3. They were both members of Group B. The I was trying to figure out the seeding for the playoffs. I have to say it was a bit peculiar. It was not just done mixed across the groups. It was or sorry, it wasn't just cross group matchups for the playoffs, as you might see, from Group A to Group B. It was an overall rankings, but that doesn't really matter. Like we said, Albert V3 has a higher seed, did better during the regular season. Maybe should be favored on paper, but Glorp Academy, like you said, convincing 2-0 last time they played. They do have our maps on screen. Not entirely sure if bind is in or if that's actually Ascent. Since we just had the map pool change, I do believe it might be Ascent. Pick from Albert V3 and Glorp Academy took us over to Breeze, and should we need it, it will be Lotus for the decider. And Grimace, let's think about Ascent, because we've seen Breeze in the map pool for a while. We've seen Lotus as well for a little bit, but Ascent has been out for um, probably like a year, maybe 2 years at this point, and it only just came back in. I mean, we've had plenty of new agents, new strats, new metas come in, come out. What could we expect? What might it look like here for our players, for our teams?
I mean, the thing is, I think Ascent has been out of the map pool for probably at least a year or like almost a year by now, and I think the meta has pretty much drastically changed since we last saw Ascent, because it was very much a more map control sentinel controller kind of um meta back then, but now we have a lot of double duelists coming in. I would say I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like the default Ascent comp come back in with the Jet, the double initiators, the Omen, as well as a Killjoy. But no, we are getting a very interesting pick on both sides here, actually. There is going to be a Harbor on the side of Elba V3. Both teams are going to be picking up the double duelist as well, favoring the Neon. And for the secondary duelist, you have the Waylay up against the Phoenix.
I just want to say before we get too deep into it, viewers might have noticed there are 4 Geralds on this side of Glorp Academy. Um, Not entirely sure what the reasoning was behind that, but we will do our best to keep track of them. Of course, we've got Thavron on Phoenix. That's the only distinctive name that we've got. But yeah, like you said, Vice, very eye catching. The Neon, the Phoenix as well. That double duelist comp. Harbor Waylay. I mean, that's this is clearly different from what we saw last time, and I think that's a good thing, right? Ascent, like you said, had the standard comp for the longest time. Last time Ascent was in the map pool, we did see the pros trying to experiment, trying new things here and there. There were some unsuccessful deadlock attempts. There were some funky comps here and there. I remember Breach being played by some teams, but mostly it was same old, same old. Now we're seeing different things. Of course, different agents are stronger, different sentinels, different duelists. They just had that Harbor rework. He's been seeing a lot more play recently. So it's going to be quite interesting, I'd say, to see not just how the map plays with these new comps, but how the play style has changed, right? Because the map hasn't had any alterations done to it since then, which I think is one of the crucial parts, that we do not have any new areas, no meaningful changes. It is only the meta that has shifted.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we saw Sen, Yoru was still in the meta, but he's been nerfed to Olivia now with a single flash. But we will be heading into the game here, as there's gonna be some contact with this A side through that fire. Well, E-Girl is gonna be sliding. That's the Neon, and it's an immediate trade for both these teams. The curveball does get Saffron flashed up a little bit, and Ramen's gonna take full advantage of that, as the attackers will get this A site.
Yeah, indeed, open a site for them. Vice Gerald gonna try to find one back here. Triple four is going to be going down, but still hard retake. You can see, like we said, the plant spot exactly the same. Generator, you want to play it from main. You have new pistols, new weapons. Now we've got a bandit that we didn't used to have before, but still fundamentally same ideas. Got a clear side. You got your nano swarm destroyed. There's a high tide as well. Good shots, Crispy with those ghosts, but lethal. She's gonna put an end to it. The pistol goes to Albert V3.
Yeah, the Cove a little bit deep for that one way, but nevertheless, with the numbers, they will win out on that pistol. That means they get the money to try and make this a 2-round lead here. And I just want to point out for the harbor itself, if you have a harbor in a post-plant situation like that, it's so annoying for the defenders to like swing through that wall, because you have the slow effect, right? And if any one of your opponents are just holding that wall, eh, you're just pretty much dead, because you're a slow sitting duck there. But it is gonna be a push out here for the defenders, as Emo E-Girl is gonna pick up 3 with the judge.
Crispy. I mean, that's just basically what the meta is right now. Right? You've got your neon, you've got your shotgun via the Bucky or the Judge. They just pump away. Greed gonna get one for the road, and now just Vice Gerald left alone. I mean, I don't think there was really any chance at any point for Glorp Academy. It's more so about whether Albert V3 could make good on that heavy investment. Because you take a look at that, it's 2 Guardians, 1 Phantom, 1 Bulldog with full shields. The only really anti-eco worthy weapon that you could call is the Judge. The rest was very heavy investment. If they lost any of it, they could be in serious trouble, in dire straits. But they're just gonna get their flawless. That's just nice and easy for them. A little bit of chip damage here onto triple four, but I think that's going to be a good performance by their standards.
Yeah, I mean, you're just able to bring all these weapons that you invested in the second round into this bonus. That's gonna make it a lot more dangerous for Glorp Academy here, because if they do lose out on this round, you're giving away a couple of all orbs. You're giving away your economy as well. This is gonna be a pretty hefty investment. All rifles across the board, save for the single Odin on Sova. Ooh. It's gonna be a fight down mid.
It is going to be. Oh. Just took my eyes off the screen for a split second. Oh, we already had a dead player on the side of Albert. I mean, I know the weaponry isn't what they would want to see, but still, very early. Very early. They go down now into the side goes Q, and that's a good pick. Upgrades to a Vandal. Now the hold here on Heaven Earth Glorp Academy, poised 4 versus 4 post plan. It's going to be. As soon as the high tide goes down, it's going to be an all-out brawl. There it is. Neon Gerald catches out Lethal, but do they know about the player in hell? Yes, they are going to check Q, and there it is. Neon on Neon Violence. The 3K is good for the round. Ramen is going to reply. Couple of kills right there from a couple of Geralds, and Glorp Academy find their round.
Yeah, this was their round to win here, and win it out they do, with 3 of their weapons invested, preserved into the next. But There's a little bit of damage here for Albert V3. I do think that if Evil E-Girl just held on to the judge, maybe they would have gotten an extra kill done in hell. But yeah, it's gonna be Glorp Academy who are able to find their first on the board, albeit with a little bit of casualties. So you can see Omen Gerald now having to go for the lighter shields instead.
Not a perfect purchase of any stretch of the imagination from Glorp Academy, but like you said, they're able to keep the Odin. It's not the worst case scenario. We've seen worse. I'm sure we will see it again, but now exploring
Ooh.
again into this A side. The spam through the smoke takes down Ramen, and now Q is going to try to find the reply in 444 elsewhere. Also finds the Sova Gerald, which had the Odin. Now Q is absolutely tearing it up. The ace player from Albert V3 making it count on side. But where is the spike? It doesn't really matter. This Neon can do it all. And while the detonation device makes its way across to the side, it's just going to be Vice Gerald left to their own devices. And I do believe that is going to be a save call.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Q completely opening up that A site, right? You had that one pick from the Neon Gerald in the corner, but that gives away your position and you're pretty much stuck in a one and done angle, unable to get out. And Q just gets the relay bolt off and goes sliding right in, able to isolate both those fights on A. And it's going to give them the numbers advantage to convert the round here. And like you mentioned, it's just going to be Vice Gerald who's able to hold on to that Odin. Don't really want to let that very large machine gun fall into the hands of the attackers here. But again, it's gonna be Albert V3 who will get the round.
And I do believe this was, yeah, if I recall correctly, this was Albert V3's pick. Glorp Academy choosing to start on the defense because, you know, Ascent traditionally, maybe not towards the end of its life cycle before it went out of the map pool, but traditionally, I think a more defender-sided map. So maybe Glorp Academy trying to lean into a little bit of that, but Albert V3 clearly showing us why they went with this map pick. Of course, this is a best of 3, so we are going to be playing at least another game. Ramen with his shots through the wall. Sova Gerald goes down. Maybe next round we will talk about these Geralds on Glorp Academy, but this time the action is going to go down. We've got Q sliding into the sides, but Neon Gerald does reply with 2 with the overdrive, and the Stinger is good as well for another kill. And seemingly out of nowhere, it is Glorp Academy bringing it back, but now a 2 versus 2. HP is not exactly at its highest for Albert V3. Weaponry is not ideal either for Omen Gerald. Now, I need to make do with the Stinger. Only 10 HP on Ramen. Will they be able to get the swing? Yes, they will. And that is the 4th round on the board for Albert V3.
Yeah, Ramen being the opener as well as the closer, despite being on just a sliver of health there. And you could see the potential setup from Glorp Academy, right? They knew that there were a couple of players just one off that alt orb, and they wanted to try and set up for a fight down in B main. But what they weren't expecting was for Ramen to just hit a nasty headshot through that smoke, through that wall as well. It completely destroys their plans. And again, that was more of an eco round coming in for the defense. So this time they will have that full buy once again.
Have the full buy, but Albert V3, they've kind of just been this killing machine. Ooh. Now Q is going to be hit by the conversion paths from Ramen, so maybe a little bit of miscommunication. Now they line up for Neon Gerald Fabron there with another one on the help, and that is simply disastrous for the attacking side.
Yep, Spike dropped in No Man's Land as well. It's just these 2 players remaining lethal as well as 444 who have to pick up the pieces. They do open things up with that 1 kill down short, but There's still 4 players ahead of them, and this smoke in the way. It's gonna be a bit more of a whole order, especially since Triple Four is now taken out of the picture.
It's lethal in the 1v4. Would be
It
a
has to be an
monumental
ace
clutch if it were found. It has to be an ace clutch. You said it, Grimace. But if anyone can do it, it is Albert V3 from what we've seen so far. The problem is that the spike is stranded. All the members are just all the way around Team Ace instead of the single player Ace for Glorp Academy. They're going to bring one back. Not the best start, but like we said, not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. They've still got that Odin in their hands. No big ultimates online just yet. We've got that lockdown coming out from Lethal. The null command will probably be there soon from Triple Four. Got that overdrive that you have to imagine would be popped if Albert V3 were knocked down to an eco, maybe for a bit of an aggressive push. If you're Emo Girl or Q. But aside from that, you've got the Steel Garden from Vice Gerald very, very soon. Maybe one pick could be it. Triple Four is going to find it, and the trades all go down in mid. It is a 3 versus 3, and I don't think we saw any of the kills. Maybe just one? What just happened?
Yeah, it's a quick skirmish down mid, and this lockdown is just gonna flush Vice Gerald out. But look at how fast the players on Albert V3 are just coming onto the side. As I say that, though, the kills definitely going the way of Glorp Academy there. 1v3 now here for Ramen. Has to just do all the work in this round. A spike is just dropped and being watched for by all 3 defenders now. Look at this. They're just waiting for the cross. Waiting for Ramen to pick up the spike and go for that spam. They do note that the spike is now gone, but Ramen finds 2 now, brings it down to that 1v1. It has to be done by Thavron here, the star player on Glorp Academy, and they will make it work. 4K in a round to bring themselves to 3.
Wow. I was shaking a little bit right there. Ramen made it close for a second, but it was in the end Glorp Academy who got the win. They brought it back to within 1. It was very much a star versus star type of clutch, and now we see this eco maybe from Q that we were talking about. You've got that Bucky plus overdrive combo. But on the other side, actually, no, there's no null command on the other side to negate it. That's on the exact same team. But Vice Gerald, simple firepower is going to be more than good enough. How many more can they get? This new Kuranami Phantom was good for 2. Now Triple Four is going to be there to take them down. Neon Gerald has an operator in their hands. Not the best weapon for the clutch. Hunter's Fury comes out for the plan, and the shorty kills are there. It is just Triple Four now on side. Going to be surrounded. Won't be a flawless, but pretty close to it for Glorp Academy. As they find, was that 3 rounds on the bounds? Good performance from them.
Yeah, tying things up now for the 4, and you can see Ramen just right around the door, looking to play spoiler, but wasn't really able to find too much there, and it's just a util dump fest onto the site, onto Triple Four, and it's 3 rounds in a row that Albert V3 have invested their outs in trying to cycle it, but they're simply not finding those round wins despite the investments. It just looks better for Glorp Academy right now, as Albert V3 economy again knocked down here by a couple of rounds lost. And it's gonna be onto that A site they go. Omen Gerald has to find a opening into this. Let's just find that one. Bandit's gonna do him in, as it's a rifle that's gonna be dropped on the ground. There's a little bit of a skirmish into tree here. But Tavron's gonna win it out as the retake does come in. Sova Jero now picks up a kill with their run it back. They do get a bit of information that Rama's playing in hell. He's gonna get spammed out of position into the waiting arms of that op, and the rest of the Jeros will clean up as Glorp Academy take that round win to bring them the lead.
I mean, you got the plant. That's really all you can ask for from a round like that. You got the kill. Sorry, onto Gerald Omen, but really not much more you can ask right there. I want to say it's time to panic just yet, but 4 rounds on the bounds. Maybe I'd be thinking about calling a timeout if we lose this next one. If I'm Albert V3, we're gonna talk about. I was gonna mention. I talked to some of the players on Glorp Academy, trying to clear up who is who in terms of these Geralds. I believe if I have it right, Gerald Weiss is Mazoku. Gerald Omen is Fight. Gerald Sova is Jack, and Gerald Neon is Mr. Clean, but I that's kind of what I think from those pre-match talks that I had. Now Q emo girl again also has a different name that what their in-game moniker shows, because Valorant players could never be normal. They're gonna get the opening pick. Thavrum goes down, 444 takes down Vice Gerald. And that is the map cracked wide open for the side of Albert V3. Now they have to make a decision on where they want to go. A minute left on the clock. This Odin down mid, Gerald Sova spamming it down. The high tide is going to come through, see if it allows a cross. Ramen takes him down from long range. Gerald Neon, though, with the operator holding it downside. Cascade. High tide, excuse me. No, I don't even know what these names, what these abilities, what these ultimates are called, but Greed is going to get it done. What is going on? It is madness. I am losing my brain. And finally, it is only Gerald Omen alive. I am going to shut up before I don't know, I say something that I regret.
Yeah, it's a great picks around the map found by the attack here. One on A, one in mid, and that just, like you mentioned, completely cracks open the map. And you still have Ramen as the insurance policy coming in from mid as the lurk, just ensuring that the snow rotates from that defender spawn. But Lamra's gonna spot Omen Gerald. Al Lethal will find a headshot again. We're tied up now, 5-5.
All that action really jumbling up my neurons, really messing with my brain. But I do believe we are stabilizing here a little bit. Maybe Albert V3 making the right decision not to call a timeout. It's rare to see teams wrench momentum from out of their hands of their opponents this strongly. But then again, it's been done before. If teams know that they can do it, there's no need to panic. That's one of the subtleties, I guess, about the psychological game, right? That not a lot of people consider. Do you have the mental fortitude to say, hey, I am going to come back. I know I can do it, or we know we can do it. And so we don't need to call a timeout. But at the same time, is there a limit to that? When do you say, hey, I love your confidence, but this is getting out of hand? Is that 4 in a row, 5 in a row? You lose 6 rounds in a row. You've lost an entire half of a half. You've lost a quarter of a game. You do need to press the panic button at some point. Albert, though, they weather the storm. They bring it up to 5 apiece. Chance to maybe get a winning half, maybe get a tying half. All they need is to win one. They guarantee themselves at least a tie, and then go into the theoretically favored side from what we know in the past. But now the hit is going to come in on the B side. Steel Garden defensively comes out from Gerald Weiss, and there is also a kill onto Q. The secondaries are just never going to win those fights. Lethal, last one left alive here to fight on site. It's not going to be flawless, but it is going to be an ace from Glorp Academy. I'm not really sure if that was an actual ace. Was it an ace from Neon Gerald?
I don't think so. I think Vice Gerald got a couple of kills.
The banner is trying to deceive me. Why am I being tricked? We have a gremlin in the works. Production, please.
But yeah, I mean, it's a great bounce back from Glorp Academy, right? You just have the Steel Gun stalling out so much time, and I'm quite surprised that Albert V3 chose to brave the storm into the Vice's side. They will be at a slight disadvantage this round. Jumping through that one way is gonna be great for them, but it's just a small amount of space here that they can get an A main as there's gonna be a paranoia coming through and 3 players leading to the side. Sova Gerald already finding the one with that Odin, and the lockdown is just gonna force them out of the site itself, but it's not out of the woods just yet.
Still fight left in here, but Sova Gerald, finally goes down trying to get out of the woods, and the trades just abound. It is madness. It is kill for kill for kill for kill for kill. Now the null command is going to come here onto the side. Neon Gerald holding this line with the operator. Does 444 decide to go back? No, they don't, and that is going to be it. The Gremlin still has not been eradicated, but Albert V3 might be on their way to being eradicated, sorry, by Glorp Academy, because 7-5, that's a good half.
Yeah, it's just Sova Gerald raining gunfire from heaven, taking out 3 in a round itself. But I will say though, attacking rounds, 5 rounds on the attack is pretty good, considering that Ascent, we all typically think it's a more defender-sided map, right? So 5 on the attack is good. Now it comes down to how well they can play their defense, because up against a comp like Glorp Academies, you have the Neon as well as the Phoenix that's just able to gain so much space, and if you're not careful, the Neon can just like run you over, and like they do pick up that Killjoy, which is not the best at stopping these kind of fast-paced pushes as compared to perhaps a Vice. But look at this strat though, coming in from the attack. It's all 5 players down Cat. They will find a 1 for the defense. Good for 1 as well as Q. The high tide does come through, but Thavron is ahead of it. Will trade the numbers back, but again, it's the defense making quick work of the rest of the players. Now Gerald does try to pick up pieces here with 2 more, but it has to be a 1v4 clutch now for them.
Does Omen Gerald know, though? It seems like they do. They're going all the way around the world. Look at that. Omen Gerald is rotating as if he were a defender. I mean, he's just taking this bike all the way from attacker spawn, through cat, through tree, through defender spawn, and now all the way onto the B side. You have no idea where these 2 defending players are. They're still stuck on A, waiting for some clue, for some signal. Soon the spy plant will go down. Soon they will get confirmation that it's not the A side. Question is, can they play the 2 versus 1 Ghost and Classic into a Sheriff? Utility has been spent, but smokes, I believe, will be refreshed for Greed, this harbor, and the Waylay. Omen Smoke gonna go down just in the nick of time. Where's the timing? There is the saturate. Goes out. Both players trying to flood back in, and the Classic is good for the headshot. Albert V3, that's 2 pistols on the map.
I don't want to be the one to point this out, but the scoreboard is a very interesting number.
Can we please banish Grimace from the cast? I will solo cast. I don't care. Can we please banish them for just an hour of silence? This brain rot needs to be cured. Okay? just put them in silent jail. No reels, no scrolling, no, I don't know, Cocomelon, whatever. Just silence, staring at a black wall. No more 6-7 for you.
But 6-7 on the board for Albert Academy, though. Trying to make it a tight scoreline, 7-7. With those 2 kills, make that 3 for Q now. Except the Bandit, 1 bullet in the chamber, but it's on 3 HP, a sliver of health. The spike will go down. They do spot out that Neon just peeking around the corner. It's just 2 players left alive on the attack, trying to play into this post plant. Shotgun does quite a bit of chip damage, and it will do Q in. Lethal is actually pretty low themselves as well, but this Bucky from Ramen is making things work. It's gonna be up to Sova Gerald, but no, can't find the headshot, and it will be the round win for the defenders as they will tie things up 7-7.
Yeah, not ideal. You do lose quite a few weapons right there, but you keep the Bulldog, you keep the Guardian. Could be worse. Let's be honest. It's a nice retake. It's decent. Their economy not gonna be the best. I'm really puzzled as to why they gave the defuse to Greed instead of to Ramen. You know, there was plenty of time. You get yourself halfway to those convergent paths. It can be a very powerful ultimate to stall on the defense. The Reckoning, maybe not as strong. I mean, it's not a bad ultimate per se, but I wouldn't call it good either. We have to remember Greed is a sub as well. Ramen and Q just combined for 2 right out of the gates over here on the B side, and that's the Spike Stranded. They are not stopping. That is what Neon is all about. W Gaming. Evil Girl Q just running it down the defender spot. I mean, what is going on?
Yeah. It's a bonus round win for Albert V3, and they're clearly not expecting that kind of fast-paced aggression from the defense. And when you have the Neon Waylay comp, I think that's exactly what you want to do, right? You're able to get that information just by throwing your bodies and like just face clearing everything, and they push the issue all the way into the attacker side spawn. And Glorp Academy clearly not expecting it. You could see a couple of players just jumping up and down, and it's like, what are these guys doing here? They're not on the attack. And it's gonna be a full stinger buy for Glorp Academy this time around. A couple of alt flows to coming to fruition. They do have the From the Shadows active, but it's not too impactful of an alt save for quick rotates. But it is the first kill going the way of Sova, Gerald, Neon, Gerald, as well as Saffron will pick up kills on their own, and suddenly this run is just completely turned on its head.
Yeah, the Stingers really making you think about which weapons should truly be buffed or nerfed. I know there was a lot of discourse regarding that, especially with how strong Neon and shotguns are right now. Are the shotguns strong? Is Neon strong? Is it a combination? TBD. The Stinger, you know, it definitely had its time in the spotlight. Now Thavron trying to find their way around here. Is trying to figure out where these defenders are. And honestly, I don't want to say that it's going to be a save, a guaranteed save, but if I were Lethal and Greed, especially Lethal, I don't know if I want to necessarily go for this one.
Yeah, I mean, 5 players ahead of them, and you have an insurance policy in Sova, Gerald. It is just a Bulldog. Lethal will find a 1 and 2 with the Odin, a 1-2 punch coming in. Thavron, though, keeps it clean. Headshot to Lethal, and another shot on to Greed. Will again tie things up here for Glorp Academy, and it was a lower buy coming in for them still that managed to make it work.
If it works, it works. That's how it goes. It doesn't matter. Like we said in the first half, you know, you lose 4 in a row. Doesn't matter. You don't call it timeout if you're Albert V3. Maybe they should have because they lost. I believe that was what I am going to be forced to say it. 6 out of the last 7 rounds. But now we do go back to the action. 8-8. Things tied up. The Odin was recovered and is being used by Vice. Gerald, Glorp Academy trying to find something here. Ramen, very aggressive with that saturate is good. Do they know there's another player? Thavron doesn't peek, doesn't go for the trade. So Neon Gerald just eliminated. And now Sova Gerald elsewhere on the map is going to be taken down, as well as kills are being traded. But Glorp Academy fighting at a 1-player disadvantage, and with a tremendous loss of map control, it's not looking good for them.
Yeah, Curve Goal is gonna give them safe access towards the A site itself, where they're gonna regroup and try to just take the player that's anchoring down this site. It is just the one harbor up in heaven. They do hear that spike plant, and Choosing to not go for the fights here is a interesting choice, but I want to try to play this numbers advantage, but that does mean that Glorp Academy have the chance to get into these postman positions from the shadows, making Omen's position completely unknown as well. Trades coming back and forth, but it has to be attackers hold down that side this time. Omen Gerald as well as Vice Gerald finding those kills, and it's down to that 1v2 for Ramen. Great paranoia off of the contact, off of that door break, and it's Vice Gerald who will pick up 3 in a round, and that's going to give them that steel garden to work with in the coming rounds.
And like you said, it's the perhaps questionable decision from Albert V3 not to fight that plan, maybe not to go for the flood a bit earlier. You've got to understand, maybe Greed, not used to playing with these other players, is technically a sub coming in, I believe, for Fiji. And then, do you want to wait for the rest of the team? You can play the numbers advantage. And we're going to go for an aggressive play here. The conversion path's almost catching out. Gerald Omen not going to find anything here. Our Sheriff in the hands of Lethal, but Havron is going to take them down. Now there it is. Q does get the Smokes player on the side of Glorp Academy, so no Omen for you. The Odin is going to deny and is going to get the wallbang, actually. So you lose one more player. Spike has been planted. Are they aware of the presence of Neon Gerald? The angle is not being watched, although there are some players coming in for me. The timing is good enough for one. Now the trades go up and down, 2 on 2. One head has been spotted. 444 is good for it, and there it is. The team play coordination on point. Albert Academy bring it back to 9 for each side.
It was an insanely chaotic round, if I've ever seen one. It was a bit of a set play attempt coming in towards A, investing the conversion pass, but it didn't really connect onto anyone. I'm surprised they didn't really try to go for a bit more contact before they chose to invest the owl, but clearly not expecting that aggression to just be up in your face. Was Omen Gerald just trying to smoke for his team up in top mid. They got taken out, and from there it's just cleanup for Albert V3. But looking at the buy here, it seems like Q is gonna be shooting the play for that overdrive instead. It's gonna be that overdrive from Neon Gerald as well. Immediately shut down though this aggression by Lethal. Vice Gerald will keep them in check as they try to even things out, but look at the rotates, look at defenders over on his B side already.
Yeah, the Saturate Nano Swarm combo, absolutely deadly. Plus, obviously, the bullets from Lethal. Quite the appropriate name given what we saw, the 2K coming in. Now it is Glorp Academy just trying to find their footing. They are at a one-player disadvantage, but last time we saw a numerical situation like this, that ended up working out quite nicely. They seem to know where these players are. Nade is going to reveal at least one player's position. As Flash will simply confirm it, but as the smoke goes down, there is a little bit of information denial. Now the million-dollar question is, do they want to face this KO, or do they want to push into B without information? The answer is KO goes down, but are they aware of the flank? Neon. There it is. Q gets one, and now they are going to be aware of it. They are getting pinched. 2 on 3. And the spike making its way over onto A. The roles have been flipped. The attackers are coming in from the defender side. Time is running low. There's Neon here to deny the plant. Can they do it? Yes, they can, and that is going to be the round most likely. Yes, it is. Q with the 3K. 10 rounds from Albert V3. They break the pattern.
Now, Albert V3 on double digits. Defense looking pretty good for them here. Even though Glorp Academy, you have the Steel Garden as well as the Hunter's Fury to work with, but you have to actually get onto the site for those kinds of post-plant util ultimates to even come into play, to even consider using them. And that was disadvantaged situation. They didn't really seem to be too keen to use them. They still will be able to buy up, and it's a great shot from Neon Gerald onto 444. It's going to be that information out of the game for the defenders.
That is just a very early kill, and that's going to be another player going down from Albert V3, and they're falling like dominoes. I mean, Glorp Academy, you said it was one of the most chaotic rounds that we had seen so far. It feels like every round is chaotic with these two, and every round is more chaotic than the last. I mean, taking a look at this, kills came in, the spike still took so long to be planted. They've got all these Geralds trying to find the flawless. They haven't had flawless in quite a while. It's always one player going down and not two players going down. Even if they have the numbers advantage, there it is. No flawless for you. Thavron is going to get taken down. Lethal gets one for the road, gets the lockdown. Probably not going to attempt anything here. You want to save this rifle, but still, Glorp Academy, you know, could be a little bit cleaner. Albert V3 would be a lot cleaner, to be honest. I mean, you leave your Killjoy just to clutch up what would have to be an ace. Really not what you want to see, especially when you just reach double digits. You're just 3 rounds away from winning your map pick. You really would have wanted the 11th here. 11-9, way different.
Yeah, Glorp Academy is just keeping things neck and neck now. Running back at the ready for Thavron, as they will be able to afford again an investment into this. This perhaps could be one of the last few buys for Albert V3 if they lose out on this round. But look at the alt economy for them though. It's looking pretty good. You have the overdrive lockdown, null command, as well as the reckoning on that harbor. Again, it was a fairly chaotic round in that last round. But that's gonna be the Hunter's Fury being used by the attackers to just get a bit of information towards B, making sure that there's no one pushed up, no one just taking advantage of that. But not clearing the corner, it's gonna be Neon Gerald as Ramen will take advantage of that. Spike again, still not yet picked up. It's just playing a slower default, trying to poke and prod at the map to figure out where exactly the holes in the defense will be. But they do hear that Neon coming out to reinforcement, and it is a fast rotate over to A from the flank as well for Q. Running back gonna be used, but the spike is still really, really far, and Q could find this kill, and another one from this running back. Look at that. One protecting the body. Vice Gerald now left in a 2v4 again with Sova Gerald here. 4 players of the defender still ahead, and he's being watched for. They know exactly where he is. Spike, nevertheless, can be planted down, but it has to be a 1v4 now for the Vice.
Just what are we doing here? I tried to keep count of all the things that I saw that round that hurt me deep in my soul, and I lost count of them because there were just so many. For starters, why are we using the Hunter's Fury off the rip when you know the opposition has a lockdown? You've got the ultimate counter to one of the strongest ultimates in the game, especially from the defense, and we're just investing it off the rip with no information tags, and then it's just mistake after mistake after mistake. Sloppy. Glorp Academy, they just it's not that Albert V3 won that round, it's that Glorp Academy lost it. You've got the reckoning right there into the overdrive is going to be good for 1, it's going to be good for 2. And you know, this is an entirely different thing, right? These are good plays from Albert V3. But last round was just so messy. Now Glorp Academy, again, they die, they crumble. And it's, you've got to think, match point to be found here for the Albert side.
Yeah, the threat of map point now looming over the heads of Glorp Academy. It's just up to Owen Gerald to try and clutch things up in this 1v3. Does have 50 seconds to play with, but really have a lot of fights to be able to be forced, since all the players are gonna be on that right side of the map. You're doing the due diligence to clear out all these corners. It is taking quite a bit of time. I think perhaps the defenders could start to suspect that, hey, maybe he's not coming to A. Maybe we can just start moving to the B side instead. With 20 seconds left on the clock, the spike plant will go down. Ramen will be able to hear this and should be able to get in for their regroup to go in for the retake.